Hey everyone, it's Tyler here from PaintLaunch, and in today's video, I'm going to show you 4 different strategies to increase your lead quality within your painting business. Now, before we jump into things, we need to make sure that we identify what the difference between a high quality and a low quality lead is.
So a good lead is typically someone that has the intent, they have the money, and they have the time.
So, intent being they're actually wanting to get painting done, money being they actually have the money set aside for the project, or maybe you have financing options that can make them have the money. And the timeline being that they actually want to get the project started now, not in 12, 24, or 36 months. Now, a bad lead is going to be typically missing 1 to 2 of these things. Most people that are filling out a form aren't missing all 3, but it's typically going to be 1 or 2. And so let's go into some strategies that we can use to actually fix that. So the first strategy that we use is just looking at the actual ads that we're running. So if we're running an ad, like the ad to the left here, it's a bunch of text. It doesn't look super professional. It has, a WhatsApp button. There's no pictures of the owner. There's not even pictures of the projects there. And it's going straight to a WhatsApp. It doesn't look super enticing. Now, if someone that's maybe on a budget, one, they're going to see that 20% off right there. And they're going to see, okay, this person may look a little lower quality, so they're going to be a little cheaper. And so you're going to get people that may even be interested. Again, I'm not sure what the conversion will be on this ad. Don't see the back end of it. But say they get some leads in, they're going to be people that are shopping for the cheapest prices. They want the lowest quality. They don't want a premium painter. Now, if we look to the right here, and we look at this ad, we can see there's a picture of the owner and there's hundreds of projects listed behind them. Now, this looks like more of a professional ad. And more of a professional ad is going to show that, again, you have a quality service and people know, like, and trust you within your market. You're established. You have fixed costs. So you're probably going to be more expensive. So people that click on this ad, they submit their information. They typically are going to be a higher quality person. So make sure that you are running higher quality ads. Now, this is just the images. Videos can get a lot more complex. So very similar to what we're putting out there is what we're going to get on the actual ad side of things and looking professional. We need to make sure we put out what we actually want as far as services. So that could be, interior, exterior, cabinet painting, et cetera, et cetera. So what you put out there is what you'll get. So first is just fixing the actual ad that you're putting out there. The second is the actual targeting that we have out there. So the first type of targeting that we like to look at is something called zip code targeting. So with zip code targeting is we would pull up a map from the census where we can see the household incomes of those regions. So right now I have Orlando pulled up, and we'll see that the east side of Orlando and up here is higher income. The darker blue being the higher income, the darker red being the lower income. The west side is a lot lower income, right? So if we were to advertise to Orlando, we would only advertise to these markets that have the higher income. This ensures that our ads are only going in front of people that can actually afford our services, which makes sense. Now, the next things we want to look at is the actual demographic and psychographic. So what is typically the type of person that converts within my business? If they are, say, 25 years old, they probably aren't going to own a home, at least in most markets, right? So typically you want to target, say, 35 plus, right? Do families or people that are married typically work with you? If that's the case, then maybe you want to have some of that inside your targeting. The next is the actual platform. So if we're advertising on, say, TikTok versus Facebook, on TikTok, we're getting a lot of people that are just wanting, say, satisfying content, at least from what we've seen. So making sure that we place our ads in the right spots. Okay. So that all comes down to the platform. So if we have our targeting and platform locked in, the next thing we want to look at is the actual qualification. So what questions are we asking and what friction are we adding on the front end to ensure a higher quality lead? Now, some ways people do it is just by asking more information, which can be good, right? So like, for example, instead of just getting, 3, we get 5. Some that we find more useful than others is, a zip code or a city versus, street address. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to just go show up to their house when they submitted their info for a lead. They didn't schedule a time. So just getting, typically the first name, email, phone number, and zip code is more than enough for the information. What we more so prefer, the manual entry questions and the multiple choice questions. So a manual entry question is typically going to be more friction versus a multiple choice question where they can just click through. Now, what I typically would add first is a multiple choice question because we don't want to have too much friction for someone coming through. Now, the more steps we add, the higher intent the lead's going to be. If you think about it, if someone has to go through 200 steps to talk to you, they're probably pretty interested in talking to you versus someone that can just click submit and maybe they were just trying to check it out and see what it looked like. So adding more hoops, more qualifications, one, you're going to get a more qualified lead, especially when you have disqualifiers, but also you're going to have people that are higher intent. So that is just something there. So some questions you can ask as far as like manual entry would be like project details. And some that you could maybe ask for the multiple choice would be like timeline. And then disqualify people that are 3, 6, 12, 24 months out. So if we're disqualifying our leads, the last thing that we need to make sure that we do is we actually track things. So on Facebook, Google, or any of these other advertising platforms, there will be a way for you to send data back to them so they know more about what actually happens post lead. So if you don't give them any information, they're going to see, hey, you got 100 leads. That's what I'm going to go get more of. Now, if you tell them, hey, I got 40 appointments out of those leads, they're going to more so get these, right? So they're going to target more people that would actually schedule into appointments. And then if you tell them which ones actually close into deals, they'll then more so go for these. And with an experienced advertiser, they can set it up to where each is weighted more and more. So for example, a job that closes at $10,000 is weighted more than a project at $800. So Facebook or Google will find more people like the $10,000 projects. And feeding that data back is crucial. So there was actually a study done by Meta that saw a 44% increase in quality leads delivered to businesses when people implemented tracking like this over a 30-day period. So if you're wondering, hey, like what is the easiest thing to do? This is the easiest thing to do. It's a one-time setup, and I would 100% recommend it. So if you watched through this whole video, you should have gone through the 4 strategies that we use to implement inside of painting businesses to get them higher quality leads. Now, if you have any questions on how we do this, feel free to drop a comment below. I make these videos again just to share what we're doing with the painting businesses we work with, so you can know a little bit more about how we operate. Now, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to click the subscribe button below, and I'll see you in the next video.